The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. These Best You EXPO talks are recorded in front of a live audience in a live event. We highly recommend that you focus on the message. As they say, what you focus on expands. Enjoy. Andro Donovan. The title of her talk is Motivate Yourself. Andro is the author of Motivate Yourself, and in this workshop, she aims to help you to get the life you want and find purpose. Offering practical strategies and tools to move past self-doubt, you'll learn how to quieten inner negative voices, improve productivity, and live your dream. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to my segment. I'm really excited to see you all. I was getting a little bit worried at first, thinking I'm going to be talking to myself, but I'm very, very happy to see you here. So the title of my segment is Getting in Touch with Your Highest Self. That part of you that when you get in touch with it, you are at your most driven, you are at your most attractive, passionate, go-getting, confident, resourceful you. So how do you get there? And then how do you build a life around that part of you that is really kind of powerful and strong? Because I know that person is in all of you, because I can sense it just meeting you this morning. So I'm aiming in my talk, a very little short talk, to give you as much value as I can. So I'm going to be spending some time talking to you a little bit about how you actually access that glimpse of yourself. But I'm also going to use it as a time to give you a practical little mini workshop. So I really want you to be open to participating fully with me. Now, can you all hear me very well? Thumbs up. Now, when I'm talking, I really invite you to participate fully with me. So when I ask a question, I want you to go yes or no. Are you willing to do that? Great, thank you. So before I begin, although this is not a very intimate environment with all the noise, I do want to share with you a personal story. So I'm just going to take a few moments of your time, and I'm going to sort of time myself to make sure I don't go over there. Quite a while ago, when I was younger, in my childhood, I had a series of, how can I put it, traumatic experiences. Experiences that left me feeling completely derailed. One of the biggest tragedies that happened to me is when I was about 14. We sadly lost my father in a very, very tragic accident on a holiday in Cyprus, where he had swum into the waves trying to save my 5-year-old brother, and unfortunately he didn't make it. He was 40 at the time. My mother was 36 with 4 kids, and that was one of the most tragic experiences which completely drove the family into this massive downward spiral of depression, angst, grief, and upset. And it took me a while to kind of come to terms with that. The following year, we get hit again by a big invasion in a small island. I don't know if you've heard of it, Cyprus, where suddenly my mother was left with 4 kids and no husband and now no estate. All the family money was gone. We were, refugees from that island. And I really thought my life was kind of over on one level. Even though I was young, I was feeling very sort of isolated, small, fearful, scared, thinking my life was never going to change. Also, another interesting thing happened at that time. How many of you here have got kids? Hands up. I've got a 17-year-old daughter, and one of the things I've realized is she really tries her hardest to be a good girl. And at that time, because my mother was in such depression, I made a decision I was never going to be any trouble. I was never going to be a rebel. I was always going to be a good girl and stay within the parameters of the family kind of values. Fast forward about 3 or 4 years, like any hot-blooded teenager, I fell in love. I fell in love with this gorgeous guy who was very passionate and happy, and it really took me out of this zone of depression. And because I came from a very, very strict background, it wasn't on in those days to have a boyfriend and be seen in public with this boy. I had to be betrothed. So fast forward 2 years, I'm walking down the aisle, okay? I'm walking down the aisle thinking, oh dear, what am I doing? I am prematurely marrying a guy because I should do it. I want to avoid the scandal. And I was actually too scared and too unconfident to dismantle this family wedding, like the big fat Greek wedding. That was me. I was walking down the aisle thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Having promoted more than 600 speakers and more than 65,000 people attend my seminars and courses and workshops and expos, having read so many books and attended so many courses, I really realized that the basics of personal, professional growth is based on the power of the question. Asking yourself empowering questions. Read my new book, The Question, Find Your True Purpose. It's based on my work, 30 years of entrepreneurship, all the experiences that I have, my manifesto, and what's really important. So for more information, go to www.thequestion.co.
2 years on, I'm in a depressed, isolated marriage. Anyone had any of those relationships where you just don't feel seen or fully expressed? But he was a good guy. I had some nice clothes, a nice house, but I still thought, is this it? Is this all there is? I desperately wanted more. I desperately wanted to have a loving, full relationship. But every night when I laid the table for dinner, I'd get the call, honey, I'm going to be late. So you can imagine what was going on with me. I was very young, very passionate, but I wasn't being expressed at all. So as luck would have it, a friend of mine had just done a personal development seminar. And I could see her step had changed. She was energetic. She'd gone from being really mousy to fully expressed. And I thought, cool, I want some of what she's on. So I went and did this seminar. I read some books. And that had the combination of galvanizing in me the inner strength and power to say, no, it stops here. And that night, this is no word of a lie, I went home. And the conversation I played in my head over and over again about when I tell him I don't love him and I want out, it's going to be a big explosion. I actually did it. I made that communication. And you must believe me when I say, within 24 hours of making that communication, my whole life took a 360-degree turn. I resigned from my job as an English literature teacher in some of the roughest areas in London. I asked my husband to move out. And I decided I was going to get a new fun job with a different peer group that was going to be really representative of the new me. And I tell you what, I've never looked back. And I want you now to ask yourselves, where are you selling out? Where have you kind of settled for a life that doesn't really inspire you? It may be that it's not in all areas of your life, because for me, that difficult relationship coloured every area of my life. Luckily, we didn't have children, and it was easy for me to move on. But I do a lot of work with young entrepreneurs, CEOs, hundreds of them all over the world. And it doesn't matter how successful they are, they always want their life to move on. It may be they want to make a bigger contribution. It may be that most of their life is working except their relationship. It may be their relationship with their children isn't working. It may be their career. It may be their physical self. There's a whole load of things that can get in the way. So this is where you have to do some work, okay? It's not a sit back and listen. It's a how do you get a glimpse of your higher self? What you need to do now is I want you to think about a person in your life. It's very important you do this actively in your head. A person in your life that has inspired you, that has become a bit of a role model for you, that draws you. You're attracted to them. It could be male or female, a member of your family, actor, actress, historian, celebrity. I'll give you a few moments to just gather your thoughts on that one. Not too long, though, because we haven't got too long. Has everybody got someone? Just raise your hand if you've got someone that you're thinking of. Fantastic. Now, I'm going to get a few people to shout out a few of those qualities, okay? Remember the qualities. So let's have 4 or 5. Quickly shout out qualities that you're attracted to in these people. Sorry, charisma. These qualities and the others that we haven't got on the board, are you at your highest level? So meet yourselves, because you would not be attracted to people with those qualities unless they were in you. So like a magnet, if you look at someone, you have a yearning to be confident like them, that's the part of you that is yearning to be expressed. If you look at people and they're loving and calm, it's because you are loving and calm. You know, you always recognize a giraffe when you see one. Do you know what I mean? You know when you're in your tribe. So the work begins with going, these are my highest qualities. This is me at my essence. So if I was to distill you individually as a little perfume, you would perfume in that way. That would be you at your essential self. So at your essence level, you are confident, you are positive, you are all those things we said. However, the way you show up to the world is with your armor on. The way I was as a teenager, you got your armor on. Do you know what I mean? And the way that I work with you, and in my book, you know, if you haven't got time to come to a seminar or a retreat, is I will give you a step-by-step guide on how you can find your way back to you. And when you find your way back to you, you can build a life around that. For instance, I have distilled my life to the value of one specific quality, which is love and contribution. Now, if my life is about loving, connecting, and contributing, I know I'm happy. I know that I'm that sort of plant that needs to be in that kind of environment. So if you're a loving person who wants to contribute, you've got to surround yourself with experiences that are going to have you express that part of you. But so many people I meet go the wrong place for their satisfaction. You know, they look at the big house, or they look at the yacht or the smart car, and then they arrive to my seminar and go, but it's not it. Is this it? Is there more? And the only place you can get that more, it's not about the form. Don't be a form junkie. It's not about the flashy house, the fast cars, the lovely clothes. It's about getting to your essential self. Sure, nice clothes are great, but it won't get you satisfaction. It won't be an enduring experience of yourself. So my big tip is to spend some time traveling inwards, finding out what some of your core values are, and building a life around it. And then once you've done that, you've got your values, and then you've got your life. And if your value is simply love, and you come from that, or simply contribution, and you come from that, you actually can't go wrong.
If you're interested in speaking, exhibiting, or getting involved in the largest personal development expos in the world, contact us today at www.thebestyouexpo.com or send us an email to info@thebestyou.co.
So I'm going to invite you now to ask me any questions that you may have around what is a first step you might be able to take to build the life you want. This also, by the way, translates if you've got a business. Excuse me. When you've got a small business, how many of you run businesses? When you've got a small business and you're recruiting people to your business, it's very important that you recruit for people that have the same values. Do you know what I mean? I've just come back from Bratislava. I was running a 2-day retreat there, and the owner of the hotel, I said to him, why is everyone so amazing? You know, the lady in the loo, the guy that runs the restaurant, the cleaners, the housekeepers, they're all smiling at me and being wonderful. He said, because I recruit for values and attitude, not for skills. He says, I ignore the CV, and I just know when I look at them, we're coming from the same values. And I really want to inspire you to find out what those essential values are for you and make sure you build a life around those and not what someone thinks you should be doing with your life, a big should, or someone else's view of the way you need to live your life. So I've got some minutes for a few questions. I'm going to be just round the corner with my books, if anyone is interested in having one of my books. And also you can leave your details and I can let you know what seminars and retreats I'm doing. But just before you disperse, any questions? Come on, get in touch with that confidence. Have you got a question, Ali? So Ali's asking, what would be the first step to start to feel my essence? Start to think about the people you like to be around. Start to think about the people that give you joy. Start to think about, how do I feel when I'm feeling good? How do I feel when I'm happy? What lights me up? What films move me? Causes that move you also talk to your values. When people or things really move because they're talking to your values. And this is, a very long conversation. But if you work with me, I'll help you get there. And then it might be in your blind spot. We all have a blind spot. And it took me many years to get in touch with my authenticity and my yes, please.
Hello. Yes, I like the values, love and contribution. And I think those are my two values. What are the values are in your bag that we could be imagining?
Thank you. Love and contribution, you say, is part of yours. Another one that I find is real for me is authenticity. So as you can see, I'm being real, I'm being me. I said to some people, I'm really nervous about the expo. They said, just be you, because you is great. And I thought, wow, that's incredible. But when I walk into boardrooms and I feel they're not being themselves, I have to blow the whistle. It's got me into trouble sometimes because I'm not prepared to play the game, of us playing the role, because life's too short. And you've heard my past. It can be taken away like that, but you can rebuild it. And it isn't about the hotel or the lovely house or all the money. It's about what I grew inside. And I know you've all got that. I know you've all got that shiny diamond. You just need someone to help you shine it up. Yes. I've just been asked, how long does it take to get the life you want? For me, it took a nanosecond. It was a decision. Once you tell your truth, or your life will conspire to have you have what you want. And the moment I made that communication to my then husband, and my lovely current husband is at the back here giving me lots of support. He's my rock and I love him dearly. But the moment I said that, my whole life changed. So what are you not telling the truth about? Think about that. What are you not really telling the truth about in terms of your satisfaction? And I highly recommend you make some of those communications and see your life change. Thank you so much for your participation.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.